everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome to another card making tutorial. Today I wanted to show you how I make this floating card with these butterflies. When you open it up, you see your image inside, but you notice that your outside decorations are floating. So I wanted to show you how I make this card, so let's go ahead and get started. First, what you're going to need is you're going to need an average size card, which is 4 1/4, 5 1/2. And what we need to do is we need to cut a circle right there in the middle. So for the sake of the video, I went ahead and done that. I used my circle cutter, and this circle actually measures about 3 3/16 once it's all cut out. And you don't want to get rid of your scrap yet because we're going to use that later in a minute. So what we need to do first is I want to go ahead and decorate my circle right here. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and I'm going to stick it underneath my circle like that. Now today I'm using the Secret Garden stamp set. It's in the new spring catalog that just came out today. It's a fabulous catalog. And this stamp set comes with matching dies, but we're not going to use those today. We'll use those in another video. But right now I'm going to use the leaf right there, and then later I'm going to be using that flower right there. But right now I'm going to be using that leaf, and I'm using the Wild Wasabi ink. And what I'm going to do, because I want a two-tone effect, so I'm going to ink my image up, and then I'm going to stamp off to get some of the ink off, and then I'm going to stamp on my card. So it just comes out really light right there. Now I'm going to ink my image, but I'm not going to stamp off. I'm going to line it up the best that I can, and it doesn't have to be, you know, even. You want it to be offset. And then I'm going to stamp it again. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Stamp off, and then put my next image where I want, down here. And ink it up, not stamp off, and stamp it down. And I'm going to do this wherever I want. So then stamp off, and then stamp on my image. And I love doing the two-tone effect. I think that it is really, really pretty. It just adds such dimension to a card. Oops! And you don't even really have to, you know, do a lot with it. There we go. That looks perfect right there. Okay, so now we're done with that. So now I'm going to use that flower that I had said earlier right there, and I'm going to use the primrose petal. Blah, sorry about that. Now I'm going to stamp my image, and I'm not going to stamp off with this one because I want my flowers to be really vibrant. So then I'm just going to stamp right there, and I'm going to stamp right there. There we go. Just like that. And that's what it looks like. So now, for the inside greeting of my card, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and with a pencil, draw a really light pencil mark, tracing that circle. And I do this because when I put my inside greeting in, I want to make sure that I can get it center. But before I do that, I want to take my circle that I had in here, and I like to do it like this, where it just kind of cuts off right there, because then when I close my card, you can't see it, and it doesn't take away from the image. So we're going to do the masking technique. So I'm going to put the circle that I cut out from right there, and I'm going to use my leaves again, and I'm going to do the same technique that I did on the front. So I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on. Just like that. And I'm actually going to do one more that I didn't do on the other card because I want some down there. Just like that. So now it looks like that. So now I'm going to take my Stamp-A-Majig, and I wanted to show you a little trick that I do with my Stamp-A-Majig. When you get the Stamp-A-Majig, you only get one clear square with it. Well, I like to use the vellum cardstock. It's thick, but it still allows you to see through it. And even though it doesn't wipe off, when I know that I'm going to be using a certain stamp set for you know, a lot of masking or using my Stamp-A-Majig a lot, I stamp it on here and then I stick it right in the stamp set, so it's always right there at my disposal when I need it. So for my greeting today, I'm using stamp set 2 of 2 of the Wordplay stamp set, and I'm using the one that says, "You're in my thoughts, you're in my heart." So I'm going to line my Stamp-A-Majig up with the corner of my paper right there, get my image, and I'm using Stays On ink, and I use Stays On because it dries faster than just regular ink, and you want to make sure that your ink isn't going to smear. So ink my image up, line it up on my Stamp-A-Majig, and then I'm going to stamp. There we go. So now it looks like that. So now when I line my image up on my circle, I can make sure that it's even. So that looks good to me. So I'm going to take my tool here, line it up in the corner again, and I'm going to remove this vellum piece. Ink my image up again really good in the Stays On. Put it in the corner and stamp. And there you go. So now I know that when I close my card, look at that, it's perfectly in the middle. So I'm all set with that, so I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase this pencil mark. And that's why you want to make sure that you do it really light, because then when you erase it, it won't show through. There. Perfect. Alright, so now to get the floating technique, we need a window sheet. And this window sheet, I haven't cut it to an exact measurement. You just want to make sure that it's bigger than your circle. And I went ahead and did 4 little strips in each corner of the red sticky. So I'm just going to peel those off. Maybe. I say it in every video, peeling the red sticky takes the longest. Alright. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick this down. Just like that. And you can put a piece of paper over this to cover the, you know, the window sheet. I don't, but you could if you wanted to, absolutely. So then now our card looks like that. Beautiful. So now I went ahead and with my Big Shot, I pre-cut out the butterflies from the Beautiful Wings Sizzix die. Oh, I can't talk today. And I'm going to be using the big butterfly again in the Primrose Petals, and then 2 little butterflies in Wisteria Wonder. So I'm going to take my mini glue dots right here, and I'm just going to put a glue dot in the middle of the butterfly, and then put my butterfly where I want them. And I use glue dots because then I can puff him up. Just like that. Put another one right there. Puff him up. And then one more. We'll turn him this way. And it doesn't matter if they overlap on the words, that's kind of the effect, because then when you open the card, the saying is there. And there you go. That's what it looks like. Now you could most definitely just leave your card like this. It's beautiful as is, but I don't like the, you know, bright white edges. So I'm just going to take my sponge and my crumb cake ink, And I'm going to get it nice and inked, and then I'm just going to lightly sponge the edges. And this is just because I think it just gives it that little bit of a finishing touch. And then just go all the way around. As dark as you want, as light as you want, just on the top. Doesn't matter. And there you go. So there is my finished floating card. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, happy inking!